Johnny Blair here, don'tstopliving.net, Backpacking Centurion, the book series, and Northern Irishman in Poland, the most recent project of the blogging lifestyle. So the update is that my last, finally in 2023, 8 years after stepping foot in Tunisia, my 100th country, I am finally about to release the fourth volume of Backpacking Centurion, and that is the black volume. That's all the sort of cut stuff, the stuff that didn't fit in the whole chronology of the adventure books that came out. But the other news is all my previous books have now been updated. So I changed publishers. It was a nightmare to organize everything, and I edited all those books. And the first book is now on its third volume. So I'll just show you the update. So that was Don't Look Back in Anger, the first one, which, as you can see, doesn't say Don't Look Back in Bangor on it. It actually says it only on the side. See there, it says Don't Look Back in Bangor. The reason for that is that it was originally just supposed to be one book, and that was it. And then I realised when kind of COVID began, when I started editing all of that, and I wasn't travelling, I realised that it was enough for 3 books. It then became enough for 4 books. In fact, I went from one book to going, I can put this over 2 books. It was going to be 2 volumes, which was going to be, Don't Look Back in Bangor Volume 1 and then Taints and Honours Volume 2. Volume 2, however, turned into Lands Down Under. And that's because that's all the stuff in the Southern Hemisphere. So that one came out. That is the updated version. That is brand new update for 2023. So those books have been re-released, those first 2. The third one, Taints and Honours, this has also been re-released. So that's the latest version of that. And actually, yeah, so what we've noticed is the pricing system has had an effect on this, because this was supposed to be 1982, World Cup, Northern Ireland at the World Cup, but I didn't put the price on it. I'd forgotten to do that. I just didn't know how to edit books at all. I still don't. This one was supposed to be 1986, because Northern Ireland were at the 86 World Cup, and this one was supposed to be priced 1958 for the third time we were in a World Cup. Now what that means is that Volume 4, which is the black volume, right, all the dark stuff, it's got a cover, it's about to go to print. That one is £20.16, which is 2016, which is the 4th major tournament from Northern Ireland. So the pricing system, unfortunately, even my latest edit of those 2 books didn't have it on it. After I released all that, I had 3 volumes of Backpacking Centurion out. Instead of releasing the 4th volume, the black volume, I focused on these other 2 books. So this one then came out, which was my storybook of how I ended up in Poland. That was actually written because I got fed up with people asking me, why are you in Poland? How did you end up here? And I thought, well, do you know what? I can't explain it in one sentence, but here's a book on it. So that's my journey to Gdansk, which I'd say it's probably my favourite book that I've done, just because it's part of the whole journey. And it's also the most recent one, because even though this one, Champagne Stuart Nova, even though that was released this year, that's actually not my most recent book, because it ended in 2009. So that story dates a long way back. And that's also just been updated and posted to me, the new version. So that's a new copy of that. And this is the one. So this is this is the reason I did the video, is this is Volume 1, has been re-released, and it's perfect. I can't believe it. So the original came out in 2020, 3 years ago, and it looked like this, right? I wasn't happy with the cover, because there's this, as you can see, there's like a white sort of box around it, because I didn't know how to edit it. There was no photo on the back, and also yeah, it doesn't actually say Don't Look Back in Bangor on it, because I had planned it to just be a generic book. It's like Ghostbusters and then Ghostbusters 2. You never call the first one Ghostbusters 1, right? So I couldn't call this Backpacking Centurion Part 1 because that cover was actually designed about 8 years ago. It was designed like 5 years before the thing was out. So obviously I just didn't want to change the cover. Didn't have the energy, the budget, the know-how to change the cover. Released the first one with the cover like that, and now today in the post I've received this updated version, which I love this one much more because it doesn't have the stupid white box around it. It's got a better sleeve down the side. It actually says, it just says Volume 1, Don't Look Back in Bangor. So I've simplified it rather than write, a Northern Irishman's journey around 100 countries. That was way too long. So it's a more simple title on the side, as you can see there, right? So the top one is better. And the front cover now says Volume 1, Don't Look Back in Bangor. And I'm happy with that. They finally got it. And also the weirdest thing is I've actually got inside this my other book anthology now, because even though they were released after, I could then re-edit it. So that's perfect. That is the story. That's it. So Don't Look Back in Bangor, the one that started, is now re-released and is perfect. The others are as a little bit of edits to the newer ones of those, but Champagne Stuart Nova and I Went to Gdansk with Somebody. The only thing that's changed with those two books is I've changed it from cream paper to white paper, right? You can tell I know nothing about releasing books. I only know about writing the thing, picking chapters. I've got, for my next 4 books, I've got all the chapter titles. I've got most of the content. It's the editing that takes me yonks. It takes me ages to go through all that. And this is probably the one I'm most proud of at the moment, just because I've actually, for once in my life, I've managed to re-edit, re-release, and get it to the way I want. I've even put the price in that one, 1982, which wasn't on the original either. So that one's looking good. This one, the black volume, is on its way. It takes ages with publishers, so no idea what month it will be in, but the plan is before December. And the plan is also to release Aftershock, which is my sort of grim next part of the story after the Backpacking Centurion thing finished, which finished 2015. And I'm making this video today from my flat in Poland. I've got a bit of a lull because it's summer and there's less football on. I'm not travelling anywhere for about 4 weeks, and I'm able to focus on writing, getting the books out. So I've polished them all up, and thanks for everyone's support during these ridiculous times of backpacking. It's just a story of a person walking around a planet. That's it. And you should all write yours too, because it's easy to write. Actually, it's just comes naturally. Just what you've done, it's in your head. Just write it and then release it. The releasing, don't ask me about that because I'm still learning it. But they're out. So first 5 printed books all out. Next one coming, and probably the next 2 will be following quickly after that. And that's also the reason why Don'tStopLiving.net has suffered. In other words, I'm not focusing as much on the blog. I just thought the books had to take priority for these few years. I've still got blog posts unfinished that have maybe I need to add photos to them, add quotes, add a few anecdotes. But they'll probably not come as quickly as the next 2 books, which is priority. So have a great day. Thanks for following. Don't Stop Living, DSL. Glory Days Loyal, GDL. Keep her lit. Take it easy, users. Don't stop living.